Okay. And we are indeed live. So, this is the Tuesday evening, just for the hell of it, MG Rogue broadcast. Because why? Because we can. Figured why not?
Mm-hmm.
I'm slightly tipsy, and TJ is christening his new war room with a cigar. So I figured we'd go ahead and go live and hang out for a little bit. Cheers.
Salute.
Indeed.
Where's
So how's
Dago when we need him?
That's pretty funny. I'm not going to say online, but I was very surprised at where he lived, where he lives.
Well, it's not in Italy, obviously.
It's not in Italy, although that's what you would think. Yeah,
That's where his heart lives, which nothing
that's
wrong
what
with that.
that's what I that from his post, the context of his post. That's where I thought he was coming live from, like from Italy. But no, that's cool. It's a little more prosaic than Italy. It's sort of a
Well, that's probably why.
it's
I mean,
kind of a letdown, but
well, that's probably why he posts photos, just depending on political view, the motherland or the fatherland, but the homeland.
oh yeah.
That's where his
No,
heart is.
I completely agree with that. I mean, we're a little different. Mine's from Sicily, and so is yours, but it's the same
Well,
thing.
and then I mean, this is the interesting thing about my background is I've got, I mean, a lot of different people from different countries, but they all married Anglo women. So I'm like Anglo-Saxon stock, but they're all from different countries. So I've got Ireland, I've got Italy, I've got Germany. As far as the surnames and whatever, but they all married English women. And so, when I'm in the mountains, that's where I feel at home. But also when I was in Ireland, as I think I've talked about on different live streams, there's parts of Ireland that are no different from where I live. Like it's the same latitude. So the climate's the same. And the only thing different is there's not a lot of evergreens over there. The ones that are grown, kind of a farm, like very, they're not wild. But so there are certain environments where I feel very much at home.
Gotcha.
And, I go to an Irish pub or I go into some Italian restaurant and they got Frank Sinatra playing or some 50s music. Like I feel at home there. I feel relaxed. There's certain restaurants or environments that I'm not comfortable with, and not like I'm uncomfortable, but like I feel like I'm out of place or something like that. But Italy is probably a place where I feel at home to some extent, but not so much because I just didn't grow up with that kind of culture. I grew up in a very Scots-Irish, which is, if people want to read about that kind of stuff, they can read about like Davy Crockett and all that stuff. He was Scots-Irish, the borders and all that kind of stuff. That was the kind of culture I grew up with.
Oh, okay. Well, that's cool. There's nothing wrong with that at all. That's interesting.
I mean, every culture has their ups and downs and their positives and negatives. And my uncle was in Italy visiting our hometown, Bassano del Grappa, and he went from Italy to Switzerland, and he said it was like night and day. In Italy, all the wood was just stacked, just randomly. They go to Switzerland, and it's all stacked perfectly in like this like configuration where everything's neat and orderly. Switzerland's is much more obsessed with that kind of stuff. I don't think they're as laid back, and that's kind of thing that I appreciate about the Italians is the fact they just are more laid back, kind of that Mediterranean culture where you don't freak out so much and you just in the middle of the day it's like, we're not gonna worry about our GDP. We're gonna go have a glass of wine and not freak out. And it's not important for us to be the number one economy in the world because we've got our family or we've got whatever it is.
Exactly. No, I totally agree.
So for those who haven't seen, that's the new Bogey poster. You'll be seeing it a lot, so get used to it.
Right.
Pay tribute, have a glass of
So you've been in the new domicile about what, a full week now?
a couple weeks. then I'm actually was spending the day working on the new bookshelves that I'm going to put in this room that are up above. That way it just saves space because I'm actually planning to put, I always want to study with a fireplace.
Mm-hmm.
And I obviously am not going to be able to do that here, but what I'm having a relative donate their electric fireplace, which is, it's an expensive one. It's not a cheap one. So it looks as real as it can get. So I'm going to put it somewhere around here on the floor. And instead of having a bookshelf, I'll have the fireplace there. So if there's a really cold night, I can be here writing. I got my books. I got the fireplace. Everything's good.
No, exactly. I know you're talking about. I bought this was back when I didn't have a fireplace in my current Fortress of Solitude, where I'm at now. Excuse me. I kept it. Hang on a second while I die.
Prostate cancer.
I probably have throat cancer or some shit. Anyway, I have this fake electric fireplace that pushes out forced heat.
Yeah.
That saved me last about a week or so ago. One of the valves in the heater went, and I woke up one morning. I'm like, yeah, it's colder than usual. What the fuck's going on? So I thought the heater was running, and I put my hand up near the vent, and it was pushing out cold air. So it wasn't. Yeah. So I brought that out of my bedroom and put that in the living room. It took about a good 4 hours, but it heated up I have almost 1,000 square feet. It heated up the whole place.
Yeah, the nice thing is I can also, if it's a cold night and I'm going to bed, I can go take the fireplace. It's portable, so I can take it into my bedroom.
Exactly, yeah.
Place. And like I always wanted to study where you can, I got my books, whenever, and and the other thing is also I'm making the bookshelves myself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's good that you're making them yourself.
Yeah, so
you're making them your shelf.
My shelf. I got this bogey poster when I was at an antique shop because I was looking for a bookshelf, and I was going around, and there were some for sale. They were really expensive for what I was paying.
Okay.
And with the bookshelves I have here, the ones that I'm making, I just stained them today, or sanded them down, stained them. I'm going to probably restain them tomorrow, and then finally, drill them in. And I was like, I'm not going to spend that much money on that. I've spent enough money with house repairs because my house is, for people who don't know, it's a 1930s house, original. All this stuff's original. The air duct's original. The flooring's original. All that kind of stuff.
Which you may or may not be staying in.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, it'll be a good trip.
So I had to spend money just dealing with like somehow, house repairs, and also when you're moving from a house, you leave stuff behind because you're like, I just don't want to deal with it, and then you move into a new house, and then you got to go buy
new shit. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I'm like, okay, I'm not going to buy these bookshelves. They're too expensive for what I'm getting. And then I looked over on the wall, and there's this poster of Humphrey Bogart. And I was like, I have to have this. This is like, because you can't really see it, but like he's smoking a cigarette, and he's got the Maltese Falcon right next to him, and a little cigarette lighter and a cigar case. And it's based off. It's a poster for this restaurant bar that used to be in California in Palo Alto. I was like, this is perfect. And it was $40. I was like, okay, I got to get this. So
it behooves you to buy that poster.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Cool. What kind of cigar are you smoking?
It is a Punch Classico.
Oh, okay. I've had one of those at the orange label. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not too bad. I got it for cheap, or I got it on.
Yeah, they're like $7.99 or some shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. They're good for the price.
They're not Tabacco Special, and
there's so that reminds me, I have to order those for the upcoming trip.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need more of those. All right, Swerve is in the chat.
It's funny. He says, "Oh, Nick
the Dick." What? Really, dude? That's hysterical. He's like, wait a minute, how come I can't hear them talking? Skelton, it's good to see you. It's been a while. Last time we talked was when we were in Utah. Any opinions on the new Dune? I have not seen it. I've gotten conflicting social media. I've gotten conflicting reviews on it. Personal, like people that I know liked it, so I probably will see it, like on Amazon or some shit.
Yeah, it's funny that the one of the actors in that, Timothy, whatever he was, he was in The King, which was about Henry V and Agincourt and all that stuff. I watched that film. The first time I saw it, I didn't like it. No. And then I've seen it a couple times, and it's like I'm able to move past the historical inaccuracy of that film and just appreciate it for what it is. But I felt like it could have been a better film, but I can still appreciate it for what it is because it's exploring just different stuff from what I was expecting. Because I'd read all about Henry V. I'd read about the history. I was really excited to see the Battle of Agincourt, and they decided to take a very different tact in that film, which is fine. I feel like for movies, your expectations going into it. This is why, like with Star Wars, a lot of times, you not to talk about Star Wars, but like
we can. This is like talking about anything.
I think that was the problem with the prequels is everybody had in their minds the way things were going to be. Because
there's an expectation, yeah.
Right, they had 20 years of expecting what Star Wars was going to be like, and then George Lucas did something that was very different. And to his credit, it was original in a lot of ways.
I do have to say this though, TJ, that it astounds me that, and it has nothing to do with Star Wars, that the rattling sound has followed you to the new house. It's not as loud, but it's there. I'm just saying.
You're just gonna have to deal with it. You're gonna deal with it.
Here's how. TJ, you know how I deal with it? Hang on, wait for it. There you go. It's called mute. There.
Wow.
Winning.
You can unmute yourself, TJ. Feel free at any time.
I did not like the new Dune.
Girl that you just think is the most wonderful thing in the world, and she has a small minor flaw.
Yeah. That's true. You are the woman that has a small minor flaw.
Yeah, but you're not goofy sexy, TJ. Sorry.
No, sorry. You can't. I cannot bestow that official designation on you, and only I can do that. That is completely trademarked by Masculine Geek, and if you don't like it, you can suck a dick. I don't know, whatever. But anyway, but yes. Robert is correct. You are not. Well, now that's goofy sexy right there. Was that a captain's hat? That's awesome.
It was my grandpa's hat. It was an Air Corps.
Oh, that's awesome. I love it. That's cool.
Yeah.
Cool. You should keep wearing that. That's fucking awesome. And what do you have to drink? Where's your drink? Put your drink in your hand as you had that hat in your cigar. That's fucking awesome. I love it. It's so cool. Christian, good evening to you and Geeky Anomaly. I have not seen you yet. Welcome to you and Red Crusaders in the house. Likewise, Swerve and Skeleton and the Bacon.
Yeah.
And of course, absolutely have that. Yeah. Nick, how are you doing? Robert, how are you guys doing?
Not bad. Nick was saying something about not liking the new Dune.
Yeah.
I don't think you can make a movie out of that book.
Not
but
really.
I'm not really going to say much about it because I'm just going to crap on everybody's enjoyment of it.
You're going to shoot at everyone's good time.
I didn't enjoy it. I didn't enjoy it either.
I am such an extreme hard case about everything that it's just better if I shut up about it.
You bitter motherfucker. I love it. So you weren't overly fond of it.
I shut it off early. I was like, fuck this.
Okay, you're like, I don't care that I paid for it.
That's the nice thing about the internet now. We don't have to financially support people we don't like. We can just watch it online.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what I've done with a lot of films where it's like, I don't like these people, but I'm interested in seeing what the film's about. So I check it out. So a lot of these people, I've never given them a dime, but I've seen their work. So.
No, that's true. That's very true. Geeky Anomaly. I was here a while. Let me throw that up on the chat. Yeah, Rollo's on at least once a month when we have
Kind of like a period.
Exactly. Rollo's like he is a definite red pill period. He does our Masculine Geek D&D campaigns.
He's on once a month when he shows up, right?
When he's not pulling a Rollo.
When he's not rugging you.
When he's not rolling us. Yeah, it's like a thing now. Who coined it? I think it was Bacon. He's like, oh, you guys got Rollo'd again. It's no big deal. But he runs once a month when he's there. He will run a D&D game for us. It's a combination 5th and 1st edition hybrid, which is really cool. Yeah. No yawning, Nick. What the fuck? It's not even late for you. It's 8:48.
As soon as you start talking about D&D, I start.
You son of a bitch. D&D is awesome. That's how I got my start in the world with D&D.
There are a lot of things that are awesome. I used to play when I was in middle school.
Oh, okay. You started with 1st edition or basic?
Beats the fuck out of me. I can barely remember.
I have no fucking idea.
He's had 1 or 2 drinks since then.
I was talking on Twitter today about the one thing I remember from middle school is I had my first actual date in the 8th grade when I was 13.
Wow.
Went to this movie at the mall. That the guy who was in it was the guy that played Animal Mother in Full Metal Jacket.
Adam Baldwin.
That's funny.
And that was when I felt up my first breast over the shirt. So
what was his name?
What'd you go see? My Bodyguard.
Paul. Yeah, it was my bodyguard. Yeah. It was my bodyguard.
Paul the bodyguard. I felt up his man tits.
I think that was his first movie, and I think it was like 79 or 80. And yeah, I went for the
Chris Makepeace from Meatballs.
I went for the after feeling her tit on top of her shirt. I went for the inside, and I got denied.
You went for the side boob, and there was nothing there, right?
I went for the inside there. Nice. I tried to scoop inside the open V-neck and
kind of cupped. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's artwork, my friend.
Artwork. That's what I remember about 8th grade.
That's actually that's a very good. That will hold you in good stead when you're on your deathbed, if you're there.
I guess.
Exactly. So we do have a question. Did you guys see the new Spider-Man trailer from Christian Soto 123? I have not. I've kind of given up on superhero movies. I
saw the trailer on an acquaintance's in Japan's Twitter site. I saw the Japanese trailer, which had a lot more scenes in it than the American one. At least the one American one I had seen earlier.
I felt like the Captain America trilogy was probably the last great superhero stuff because first one was pretty good. Second one was really good. Third one was also good.
I did like the Winter Soldier.
Right. I felt like those films like dealt with stuff that we're gonna like. I mean, the third film, Civil War, was concerning freedom versus safety.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's going to have timely relevance for however long after, like in 20 years, people are still going to be referencing those films, that film, but also Winter Soldier, where, they find out Hydra is really controlling S.H.I.E.L.D. And
that DNC, you mean? I went there. That's right.
I feel like there's going to be relevance to those films, well after when 20 years from now. It seems like like with Lord of the Rings, it's approaching its 20th anniversary. I remember when they came out. Those are films that haven't been dated at all because there's the themes that they deal with are so timely, as opposed to other films where they're dealing with something that's very specific to a very, like Network. nobody watches Network anymore.
Mm.
It was a film that was really important for the 70s. Nobody watches it. Nobody, like, we know the reference, like older people do, but young people don't. Younger people are probably going to be 20 years from now talking about the stuff from Captain America. My guess is, I could be wrong, but
It's possible. They are solid movies.
right, and I
They
think
resonate. They definitely resonate. See, the other stuff, I mean, they can make it all they want and they can market it, but it doesn't resonate. And the afterwards, the numbers and the following, or the lack of following, is evidence enough to the shittery that they've created. So I mean that's
Shittery.
just the shittery. That's just the bottom line with that crap. I mean, you can't stop it. I mean,
I think that also. Well, I
all
think
that
that also,
well the problem is too. It's like the stuff that we don't like. I could say let's stop it from being made. Well, that would be tyrannical on my part, and that's not the idea. Fine, let it be made. Whatever, do your thing. And what it comes down to is what we've always talked about here in Masculine and Geek. Is what you vote with your time, your attention, your wallet. The market's going to decide what's going to have the longevity.
right.
That's just how it is. and
Right.
So,
but I
that's how
think
it is.
that some of the stuff in, like, for example, that's going to become more relevant. I mean, with Captain America, he comes back and Shield is kind of the only thing he knows, but he has to go destroy it. He has to go destroy everything that he cares
Well,
about.
the destroying of the things that are already in place, I don't agree with. I agree with you on that. I don't agree with that path that they're taking. But that's deliberate. That's completely deliberate.
Mm-hmm.
That is a deliberate path that they're taking to undermine and destroy the hero quest that's intrinsic in all those initial stories.
I think what's interesting with Captain America is he's a guy who was from the 40s. He wakes up in the 2010s.
It's kind of a cool concept, yeah.
Yeah, it's a cool concept, but like it's unmistakable. He's clearly saying, like, things have not gotten better since I went under ice. Like, things have gotten worse. And so, that's why ultimately in the end of the last film, he decides to go back in time because he doesn't want to deal with the reality. That's not his world and he doesn't like it. And so I thought that it was very interesting because there was that one scene in Captain America where Tony's showing him the pens that were used to sign the Lend-Lease Act, which is when America gave a bunch of stuff to the British so they could continue to fight the war. And Steve Rogers is kind of like, yeah, but that kind of got us into this war. And he's basically saying we didn't benefit. He's looking at what America is today and saying we didn't benefit in the long term from fighting. And I thought that was a very like subtle commentary on our modern world. And then there's that one line from the first Avengers film where he says, when I went under, we were in a war. When I came out, they said we had won, but they didn't say what we had lost.
Mm-hmm.
And he's saying this in kind of like a rebuking manner. And Nick Fury acknowledges that. He goes, we made mistakes. Like he's not denying that things have gone south since the 40s on a lot of stuff. And so I thought that was for a modern 21st century director and screenwriters to say that in a film, I thought was very interesting. Like it's very non-PC. So.
Very true. Non-PC, see?
Mm.
That's what we're all about here is non-PC. Don't forget the like button as you all come in. Thank you, Bacon, for that. Yeah, please hit the like button. Not that it matters. I mean, hit the like button, hit the dislike button. It's all to the algorithm. It's all the same, really. I hit the like button, check the notification bell, and leave a comment, even if it's something inane, even if it's something disparaging. I don't care. I'll leave it up. Because even though you think you're getting us, it helps us. So go ahead, leave your negative comment. I don't care. Fucking retards.
Nobody cares.
Aaron
Nobody
Clarence is not
cares.
actually 5'9".
He's like 5'8.5". Exactly. Where is that fucker, by the way? I have no idea. Is he in
Somewhere
his
in the middle
hometown, or
of
is
the
he
Midwest.
is he in route somewhere? He's always on the move.
He's probably on Spirit Airlines with a 350.
He's like a little retard. He's like a little retarded kid. He's all over the place. Shit. How are you doing, Robert?
Not too bad.
Cool.
Been working on a couple of projects and trying to get some things done, and also trying to get in touch with a friend of mine who's going under the knife tomorrow. So,
oh shit.
Yeah.
Circumcision.
Yeah. Got something wrong with his ticker. So.
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah.
Well, good thoughts to him. Hopefully everything works out well.
Yeah, sounds like it should be a pretty routine procedure, but we'll see how it goes.
Okay.
Of course, a family member's in the hospital for something else, and went to visit them. And one of the questions I got asked by security was if I had any thoughts or intentions about overthrowing the federal government. And I'm like,
Jesus Christ, you seditionist.
And I'm like,
what time?
I'm like, seriously? And they're like, no, we have to ask this. And it's all apparently tied into some of the COVID stuff. If you don't want to wear a mask, you don't want to get the vaccine, then you obviously want to overthrow the federal government. And I'm like, no, I know people who would like to do that, who have worn masks, and in fact, there are people who wave a black and red flag claiming to be anti-fascists who wear masks all the time, so that their sole intent is to overthrow the federal government. So it's
really the dumbest shit.
Oh yeah,
it's given a voice and the license to mentally ill people.
Mm-hmm.
Is what this current administration and many administrations over the past 2 decades, I would say, particularly since the advent of the internet and social media, because a lot of people are like, complaining about this, but this is nothing new.
Mm-hmm.
If you go back and you look at newspapers and you look at the editorials,
mm-hmm.
and you look at if you go back and you read journals of people in history, whether it's personally no-name people or people that are well-known, you're like, wow, you know what? This could translate well to social media. Oh, yeah, nothing's changed. Oh, okay. Yeah, everyone's still a fucking idiot and a fucking retard. And what you need to do is to curate that and realize, okay, well, that's how everything is, and to make sure your own mental health is fairly stable. But people who are insane don't know they're insane, so it's sort of a catch-22. It's like, what do you do?
Speaking of which, did you know there was a trial that one guy was involved in Lincoln's assassination? They were trying to assassinate a whole bunch of people in his cabinet, and one of the guys ran out of the house. He was trying to kill one of the administrators of Lincoln's cabinet, and he failed, and he ran outside screaming, "I'm mad, I'm mad, I'm mad." Well, during his trial, his lawyer was trying to claim that he was insane, and the problem is there were witnesses saying that he testifying that he had said, "I'm mad," as he screamed outside the house. And the problem is they pointed out a person who's insane doesn't know that they're insane, and they don't say that, right? And that's why he got dropped in the gallows with the rest of them, even though his lawyer claimed he was insane, and he claimed he was insane. That was one of the things. Like, people who are insane don't know they're insane.
Oh, yeah.
It's like people who like, if someone has to say that there's something in certain cases, that's not who they are. That's not what they are.
I worked in the psych field for a little over 12 years, and that statement is correct. The people who are a little unbalanced, when you're ascribing a normal standard of being able to take care of yourself daily functioning, okay, It doesn't matter what you think or what you like to do with your hobbies or how you like to comport yourself or what the hell you want to wear on your head. You want to crush some tinfoil on your head and go out in public, whatever, do it. As long as you're socially acceptable, that falls under the normal area. But the people that cannot do that don't realize that they can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's glaringly obvious to the rest of us. But you do have to treat them with I always treat them with respect from one human being to another. And I always was very gentle with them. It's like, okay, I get it. I understand. I know your history, but at the same time, it's like, okay, well, you don't understand. You have to be gently guided into a little bit of quote unquote normalcy.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit.
There's some people who are mentally ill, but they're not malicious or they're not malignant, and so you can kind of guide them in that
Absolutely.
sense. Then there's people, and those people are like well-intended, but they've just got mental health issues, or they're just whatever it is. They're not bad people, and they don't mean poorly. As opposed to
they're children. I mean, essentially, they're children. Yeah,
they're like Aaron Clare.
He has to be guided. That's why he does have what's called the GF. His wife, she does guide him. I'm convinced that she writes his books for him, and she pen name. It's all pen name.
Yeah,
even the name Aaron Clary is a pen name.
Right, and so I think what the difference.
I would take a ghostwriter for a girlfriend. Don't get me wrong.
Right,
absolutely.
It's so much wrong.
I think that those people are far less dangerous to society.
I'm dying.
I think they're far less dangerous to society than people who are mentally ill, but they don't know it, but they're also malicious, and they're also much more higher functioning than.
Well, there's a difference. It's a good point, TJ, you're making. There's the ones that are a little off. They're not malicious. There's a mental. There's a.
It's very obvious.
There's an obvious non-standard functioning part of their life, but they know right from wrong.
Right.
Okay, they know right from wrong. There's a difference there too. One of the communities that I dealt with was males and females that were transitioning from being severely confined to the real world. So we had a transition house, like a halfway house, where they spent 2 to 3 weeks, and we provided peer counseling for them, and we monitored their meds. We took notes. We were basically a friend to them as well, and we helped them out as best we could with daily functioning activities.
Right.
So it's interesting to see that from the inside. But what I think what got to me after a while, and what does with a lot of people that actually have empathy, is the institution, as it were, it was for the state. I worked in it for a division of DIFAS.
Mm-hmm.
And anything with the state is full of red tape. It's full of incompetent, for the lack of a better word, incompetent retards.
Mm-hmm.
And I was tired of dealing with that. Like, I can't do this. It's like you're trying to surf or boogie board in a cesspool and getting slapped with putrid wave after putrid wave. It wasn't the people. It wasn't the clients in the house that I was working at. It was the administration. So I had to divorce myself from that very quickly.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that, I mean, the guys who are like, everybody understands is kind of a little off. Like, as a guy was telling me, 100 years ago, they'd be like, yeah, Aunt Sally, she's just a little off, but she means well, but don't take her seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Like when she says she saw a guy on a camel out through town, don't just humor her, as opposed to somebody who's really high functioning, but mentally ill, but also malicious, or or more importantly, they're destructive. Engaged in destructive behavior where, and that's the problem, is where they have delusions, and they're very adamant about, like, this happened, or this person broke into my house and stole stuff, and we need to send them to jail. Those people, when they have delusions, you lock them up.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
That clientele of the mental illness scale needs to be separated from the rest of us. People can rail against that and have like, with humanity and blah, blah. No. When you're causing harm to other people on a regular basis, whether that's physical or extreme emotional harm or both, no, you sorry, douchebag, you're going away. That's just
that describes most of the people on this panel, though.
That is true. That's why we're all segregated and we're all in our own fortresses of solitude. That's why James is out in Texas and you're out in bumfuck South, whatever it is, South. You're like out in Pump Handle, Iowa, or some shit. and Robert's out in the Midwest, and TJ's on the Western Wall, and I'm on the Eastern Bloc, the armpit of America.
You're in one of the worst states in the nation for locking down everybody.
Strangely enough, we're not locked down at all. We have. It's like it doesn't even exist anymore.
No, I was just in Jersey a couple months ago, and I'm sorry, but like, yeah, I've hung out in Jersey with Vincent, Rob, and James, and I'm sorry, but like, Jersey is infinitely more normal on some stuff than. Like, if I was to go to South Jersey or wherever Ocean City is, I'd plug into a community pretty quickly. Like, there's just stuff there.
You'd be fine. It's just on the governmental, and trust me, I know, on the governmental administration side of it, it's a complete clusterfuck.
Right.
It's expensive. It's fucking expensive.
I'll tell you this: the banning in my state of cigar lounges. is devastating.
They did that to you too, because they did that in Utah recently.
Right. It's a devastating loss of a male space, because if you want to go hang out with men that you like and who are emotionally mature, that's where you go. Yeah. You go throw some.
Well, I hear they have other places for that purpose in Seattle, Mr. TJ. I don't know if are you their clientele?
Shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up.
I was waiting for Nick to say that.
Shut the fuck up.
He's gonna escape soon. I have to sneak this one in.
Fuck up. James, say it. Go ahead, say it.
Shut the fuck up.
There you go. That's it. Right in the pocket. Right. Oh, Nick, that's fantastic.
No. So the whole thing is like, if you want to go hang out with if you're looking for a certain type of like-minded men.
Good no matter how you say it.
No, I'm just saying, like, if you're looking, like, for example,
if you're looking for a certain type of guy.
Yeah. Should we start playing YMCA by the Village People?
YMCA. No, I know. No, TJ, I understand what you're saying.
We all do, but that
it's still fucking fun.
They're trying to get rid of the gun clubs. Great. That was one place. There's not any near me. There's no. You can go to the bar, but that's going to attract a mixture of people. Like it's scatter. It's Russian roulette, Whereas opposed to going to a cigar lounge, I'm sorry, I've never been to a cigar lounge where there's guys that it's not a bar. It's a place where you go where guys are kind of emotionally well adjusted. I've never been to one where they're not, because they're there to have a cigar. There's rules. If you want to be, it's a club. If you want to be part of the club, you got to adhere to some standards. You don't have to adhere to any standards to walk into a bar. And that's one of the problems is the death of the men's clubs and social clubs, where you're trying to find guys who are like-minded. In my area, there's no space for that. And trying to create that space it's kind of a crapshoot if you want to do that, and it's difficult. And you got to have.
We've talked about this before about men's clubs and about places where you could go to play cards and drink and have a steak and not be bothered with women and not be bothered with pud wax, and you had to be sponsored. You had to be sponsored for membership. You know,
Correct.
it's not necessarily cheap, but you know, it's not didn't have to be expensive. But it was like if you wanted to go somewhere and get drunk, you went there because you weren't going to be out in public.
I will say
And
this, though.
everybody who was there was of a like mind in that regard.
Exactly. Yeah. I will say this, and Robert knows what I'm talking about. Obviously, TJ does, and so does James. Maybe you do or you don't, Nick, but I'll discuss it later. TJ and I are working on this. And it's geared a little towards role-playing games, but there's other things involved. We are working on this. So that's a future masculine, a very soon-to-be masculine geek adventure and endeavor. So, yes.
Yeah.
I'm tired of bullshit. I'm completely tired of bullshit. I'm tired of seeing these spaces being essentially pulled out from under us over the decades. This has been happening. This is nothing new. It's been happening since I'd say the 50s and 60s, maybe a little earlier. So what do? You could go online and complain about it. Well, you can, but then you're just a fucking idiot. This is James would just be like, shut the fuck up. Just shut the fuck up, or do something about it. So we've decided to do with the space now, masculinegeek.life, Punch Riot, things of that nature. We've decided to do something about it. So there will be more information released as things happen.
Right. You know, what's funny is, people have been talking about this recently on blog posts and other stuff like that. And I was having a discussion with guys the other day where I said, look, you have relationships or friendships or interactions online. You got to take that offline. Until you do, it's not real. If you haven't taken it offline and you haven't met up with someone and actually spent time with them and it's a reciprocal relationship, it's not real. And this is one of the problems that a lot of guys get with the internet is they think that there's guys I've known for 6-7 years online and then they disappeared. They deleted their Facebook, they deleted their social media account. And I didn't really get upset because I understood at that point it's not a real relationship. I've never seen them. They've never helped me drywall one of my houses. They haven't helped me fix a flat on my car. We haven't hung out in person. I have no idea who they actually are.
No, it's true. I mean, and I understand you're completely correct. And we've done this. We've always, in Masculine Geek and Punch Riot, we've always advocated for that. Is real life meetups. Right. Now, I know from James's point of view, with him growing up in the digital, because everyone here, for the most part, with the exception of James, has grown up in the analog. We're straddling two ages, as it were, two fantastic periods of time, and both had their merit. So I'm not going to disparage. They both have their positives and negatives, and it's interesting from James's point of view because he's developed friendships online, and he's also used them to further his own life path. So he's used that as a tool. He didn't get mired in it, and he's not just sitting in a basement somewhere jerking off and online. He's actually putting into practice what we're talking about. I mean, he could be in the basement jerking off, but what I mean is he's moving forward. He's not just doing that. He's not just using the internet as a partial tool. It's everything. Are you opening a physical space for non-retards? In essence, I don't want to get too much into detail because I'm still working out the details. But to answer your question, Geeky Anomaly, James, could you read that if you don't mind?
So how do we protect a new place like that from getting sued? Obviously, a man like you wouldn't bend the knee, so we don't have to worry about that.
Well, that is true, and I appreciate that compliment. One of the ways you do this by not being sued is starting a non-profit. And you start your space as a non-profit under almost like a fraternity. That's all I'm going to say. Then you can gatekeep, and gatekeep hard. So if you wanted to keep women out, guess what? You can keep women out. That's all I'm saying. Now, having said that, there's spurgs out there that may be listening to this later and go, "Oh, well, you hate women." No, I don't hate women, but there's an appropriate place and time for women. Okay, and if I don't want women in my space, I'm not going to have women in my space. If I want women in my space when I want them, I will have them. That's the deal. If you don't like it, that's too fucking bad. And that's what we will be creating. I love women. They're a compliment to my life. If you follow my Instagram, if you're a subscriber to masculinegeek.life, you'll realize how much I love women and what I like to do with them and to them. And if you follow even lately the Twitter feed, you'll see that I love women. So yes, TJ and I are working on that. So,
I'm going to say some of our greatest mistakes have been made because of women.
Absolutely. And you know
losses of time, losses of income, losses of property, losses of all sorts of that. I mean,
no one knows
you,
better
Nick,
than
and
all of us.
I mean, we could the list of things of yeah. So yeah, we're very fond of women. So
absolutely,
that's part of the problem.
No, men need their space, and let's put. I know I get tired. This is very tiresome, and I'm not going to apologize, but I have to say it again. And Nick is cutting in and out with his amazing internet.
Well, south of the Mason-Dixon, he might
That's
need
true.
to get
He should
another
go back to that hotel.
groundhog to
that
power
hotel.
up the
He has better reception.
Motel 6.
I think it was a Motel 6. I'll bring it back to this example. When I would go to the Barnes and Noble to do some writing, and off in the corner was a group of women, anywhere between 6 to 12 women, and they were knitting, and they were talking, and they were gossiping, and they're having fun. They were enjoying each other's company. That's fine. I didn't sit there and say, "Hey, you know what? Yeah, there's no men there. Let me go talk to a manager, because we can't have that." Well, you step back and you say, "Hey, well, why aren't there men there?" Well, look at what they're doing, and fundamentally, for the most part, men don't give a shit about knitting. Are there men that do it? Sure, that's fine. Whatever, you do whatever you want that that passes the time, that makes you happy. That's your thing. Whatever, I fucking care. But don't force me to like it, and don't force me to not like it. Leave me alone. If I want my space to do my thing, and I don't need, because fundamentally, yes, men and women are different, and we all know this. I know this is a bit of a bubble and an echo chamber here. We react and act differently, which is one of the reasons why, for the most part, I don't have women at my D&D game. Have I had them before? And has it been okay? Sure. We can't help it. We as men act differently around women in any given endeavor. You can. Oh, you're Vince. You're lying. And no. Pay attention. Pay attention to the dynamic when you're with your buds, when you're with friends, when you're in a professional setting, and when women are in a professional setting and a non-professional setting. And you will see the glaringly obvious differences. Now, these are not negative. They just are. Okay? But when it comes to my hobbies and my games, that difference gets in the way for the most part. So no, unless I'm dungeon mastering a group of 7 to 8 women in chainmail bikinis, I don't have women at my table, and I don't care who likes that or doesn't like that. I don't give a shit. I just do not care. Nick is kicking all the purple salamanders off of his router. Yes. Mike DeLuca, heard your dialogue a little earlier on mental retards. Are you a therapist, psychologist? No.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's an expert. We've dealt with him.
I'm an expert on spurgs and retards. No, I spent some time studying psychology. That was my degree pursuit at Rutgers, and I worked in the field for almost 12, 13 years, a little over 12 years. I started when I was 18. I worked for the Mental Health Association, the South Jersey Mental Health Association. So yeah. Geeky Anomaly. Yeah, you want to read that, James? You're muted, son of a bitch.
Absolutely tragic.
What?
Yeah, I've got a rich old ale in me. I want a place to drink cognac and tell dirty jokes like some cliche Victorian banker.
Absolutely. And hopefully in 2022 with Masco and Geek, you'll be able to do that. This is a shout out to Nick if he's watching. I don't know what the fuck happened.
His
Your ass back.
southern internet. Well, the South will rise again. Well, you get your internet.
You can't even get your internet. Your internet infrastructure is all fucked up. Like,
Does he have Spirit Internet?
right?
Exactly.
No, Mike DeLuca, I did not. I do not officially have my degree. I have
He has a
my
PhD.
I have my degree requirements. I have well over 100. I have like 143 credits towards a bachelor's degree. I just never applied for my BA. I didn't give a shit. I was working in the field. I was working in computers, and I was well entrenched. And as far as the paper was concerned, I didn't care. You know, a lot of people will get annoyed at that, especially family members who are retards. I don't care. So I have the experience to back it up. And I have the degree credits, so anyone who can try to step to me can go fuck themselves. So that's that. Yes.
Yeah, a lot of people have that paper who are still, serving
working,
you your venti latte at Starbucks. So,
I was going to say they're working as baristas, so they can suck a dick.
So,
I don't care. Yeah.
But yeah, my one of my sons has his degree is in psychology, and he currently works in a lab. So.
Let's see. There you go.
And that's the way it is.
That's the way it is, you sons of bitches. So, James, how are you out in Texas? How's it going? Did you get everything? Did you get the motorcycle transported out okay?
No. Very little of my stuff is actually here. In fact, my second computer was supposed to come. It's not going to be until December, which is.
Oh crap! Do you need?
It's a perfect time to move out of Jersey.
Yeah. Do you need? If you need help moving, let me know.
Well, I'm down in Dallas at the moment.
Well, you're
it's a matter of
back
getting
to move. You coming back to move stuff?
No. So they. You know who is loading up the?
Correct.
Load up Denali and bring it out there.
Do you need me? Do you need me to supervise?
I am tempted to take advantage of that. Frankly.
If you do, I just say the word, man. I'll go down.
I will.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Mike DeLuca, you actually catch shit from your family. Actually, I do, because I have a mentally ill sibling. Yes. I'm not going to go into that because he's not here to defend himself, because even though he's mentally ill, he deserves to be able to defend himself on here. So if he wanted to come online and do that on the show, I'd absolutely have him on. Absolutely. I would destroy him, but absolutely.
My family gets no such.
Yeah, fuck that. Yeah.
It's been fantastic, dude. I've been from the second I got down here. I've been so. I want to sleep 24/7.
I can tell it in your voice. I can tell in your voice. You're very like you're very. There's a different vibration to your voice right now. That's good. That's good. That's a good thing. It's a different vibe. See.
Literally, it's fantastic. I went out with
vibrations.
That's
I let's see here. I think 2 days after I got down here, went out with Texas Tomboy again. I met up with my buddy Luke again. Jake has been extraordinarily pleasant roommate. It's so fascinating for minor disagreements or preferences or boundaries to just be mutually set up without being catastrophic.
Nice.
It's fascinating and a very new experience. We're getting into interior decorating. Soon this is going to be...
I saw your post with the lights. I really like this. There's sort of rustic industrial lights. That's completely Edison-like. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I just bought 4 of them. They're going to be here. There's long-ass LEDs. I'm very excited to see that. I'm going to paint the room. And
oh, please post it. Like, I love that kind of shit.
I will. Awesome. Going out with Texas Tomboy to look at aquariums. I'm going to get fish and
that's
shelving.
awesome, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be very nice to personalize the space.
Absolutely, dude. Absolutely.
2 Kickstarters in the next 2 months, I think.
What's the Kickstarters for?
The first one is going to be a 5th edition product that's just going to be cards that you could add into your 5e game that you could pop on top of attacks and bullshit like that. And just something to spice things up with a little bit of randomness and take advantage of some design that's been sitting around sitting on my desk for a while without getting expressed. And then after that, after the advertising and the momentum and the audience built up from both what I already have and from that particular endeavor, then we're going to do the magazine.
Oh, nice. I look forward
I have
to
a shit ton of freelancers on that. Like, we're selling dice, we're selling cards. It's going to be very fun.
That's awesome. Okay. When do you see a release for that? The magazine?
The magazine?
First of the year.
It's probably going to go... The Kickstarter is probably going to go live around the second week of December.
Okay.
And the one we're about to do is going to go live sometime this week. That's part of why I'm waiting for my computer to get down here so I can, just for my motion graphics software, I'm going to develop the banner. And then obviously I need to record the pitch, for which I need my other microphone.
Gotcha. This son of a bitch. You there, Nick?
Do I look here?
Well, there's 2 different heres. You smart ass. There's a here where you're frozen and not saying anything because your internet sucks. And then there's you talking now as you are. So yes, you're you fucking dick. Whoa.
Yes, I'm back. I have returned.
Awesome. Yeah. Fantastic. So James was just telling us about his Kickstarters, which is really cool.
Oh Jesus! Shut the fuck up. Are they games and graphic stuff like that? That's what you do?
Yeah, at the moment they are. God, I want to get into voice work now. I finally have some. I finally have fucking free time and freedom, and most importantly, a quiet living space with which to do voice acting talents. And no chance of even interruptions from the outside world. And my desk is currently clear. It's so fucking annoying.
Nice. You want to read that, James?
Mike DeLuca asked, does the family in illness run in the family? This is something in ontology. Mike.
Yes. Anxiety and depression. And on my father's side, OCD. I have horrible OCD. I have nonverbal Tourette's. You wouldn't know it because I control it very well. This is not something I make a big deal of. I don't put it in my bio. I don't talk about it. It's just something that I deal with and always have dealt with. It's been a struggle most of my life. It's been a pain in the ass, but you know what? I did it. When I was very young, I would say, hey, I would cry and say, Mom, what's wrong with me? And, oh, it's your nerves, honey. You do the best you can. And I did the best I could. So here I am. So does mental illness run in my family? Yes. Am I aware of it? Yes. And that's the big thing, is being aware of it.
Being a writer is being mentally ill.
Thank you, TJ. Yes, it's true.
I'm just saying, it's funny. I was talking to a younger relative of mine where she was saying, she wasn't saying mental illness, but she was saying, if you're going to be an artist and be productive, you can't be happy all the time. Like, you have to be discontent with life. And I think that that being a writer, here's the reality. If you're going to be a good writer, you have to be able to tap into stuff that you yourself haven't experienced. That's just the reality from it.
Exactly. James, this is shots fired to you.
My voice is raspy because God took your dad's voice, his vocal cords, put them in me, and then possessed me, and that's why people listening to me.
There you go. So Mike DeLuca, we're not at this point now with that. Don't get me wrong, it's funny, but with that comment, you're bordering on troll. So
is he known to the?
He's not. Mike DeLuca is not a known quantity. He's
he's assuming a level of familiarity in order to make that kind of joke. That I
exactly.
Don't think
you don't know me well enough to talk to me.
Well, that's the thing.
Shut the fuck up.
And it's all in good fun, Mike DeLuca, as long as you're not my brother in disguise. So, having said that, and this is something that TJ and I have talked about, and everyone on this panel is like, if you haven't met us and interacted with us, the level of camaraderie and inside jokes is very limited to you.
Mm-hmm.
You have to know us. You have to earn. There's a certain level of respect. There's a dominance hierarchy with men, whether you like it or not. It exists.
We've talked before about my little club down here, and there's the shit those guys can get away with saying to me is pretty bad. But then, some stranger walked up to me and said something 1/10 as bad, they get punched in the mouth. So
yeah.
Oh, that's like
I've said several face.
Yeah, I've said several times, I'm more than happy to tee something up for you guys to rip on Aaron, but I myself don't feel too comfortable.
We haven't met Aaron yet.
Yeah, because I've, other than, doing this, I've not sat with Aaron. I'm not broken bread with him. I'm not shared a drink.
I'll tell you right now, you're not missing anything. So
yeah, well, him staring at his watch. It's like, when do I get to go? Yeah. So, and who's picking up the tab on this? I'm very limited on that. It's fun to hear you guys bust on Aaron because he takes it so well, but it's like, I haven't earned that right yet.
I bust on Aaron not because I've earned that right, but because Aaron came out of the chute throwing shit at me. So now,
that's different. Yeah, that's different. Yeah, that's different. Yeah, if you're gonna do that, then you're getting it back, motherfucker. Right. Like Aaron, like every once in a while, I'll throw some bullshit at Aaron, and some people will make comments. I'm like, well, first of all, I'm friends with Aaron, and number two, I'm getting him back for like 2 years ago. Just coming back now. Yeah, I just decided, okay, well now I'm going to release it because it's contextually it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But my, the sort of the level of fire I return to him is roughly the same as what he leveled at me initially. So there's still that I can't.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. It's all leveled out good.
Even though he's probably more of a homo than Vince, I would never say that.
you dickheads.
You laser dicks.
Laser dick. How did you like the latest chapter 9 and TJ's little thing at the end?
I haven't read it yet.
What the fuck?
I haven't read it yet. I just got it yesterday, right?
2 days ago, yeah.
I'm working on it.
I gotta read this.
You have to read it because it's something you requested.
I've been heavily into the crypto thing lately because there's a lot going on. So I haven't read Laser Dicks yet.
That's all right. I'll forgive you. You want to go ahead and plug your crypto stuff? What's that all about?
It's about crypto.
You know what?
And here's
Could he be any more crypto talking about crypto?
Yeah. Shut the fuck up, Nick. Shut the fuck up. James, can I have one? Let me have one.
Shut the fuck up.
There you go.
Shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up.
You're emphasizing shut.
That's the point.
That's
the fuck
why
up.
It works. That's why they come to me.
Exactly.
I love what James said. That's why it works. That's why they come to me.
That's right, you dirty bastard.
First you get the vocal cords, then you get the money, then you get the pussy.
If you say shut the fuck up, everyone says that. If you go shut the fuck up, different. There's more.
If you say it my way, the ones coming to you won't be glad.
Yeah, but they're gay.
There'll be somebody else.
That was a tools in a verbal toolkit.
Exactly.
You know, if
Jesus
only we
Christ.
could have Father Christmas Cappy here with his Santa Claus hat, just grumpy Santa, you know?
Right. What's up, Tempest? How's the
Amen, brother.
how's little Berlin down in Austria?
Is he in Austria? I thought he was in
how-
Australia.
Yeah, how's it being
Well, that's what I
under a
mean.
Nazi
Austria.
regime again?
Austria. Well, apparently Austria and Australia are the same thing.
Pretty
right
much the
now.
same now. Yeah, you're
it's
right.
the
Yeah.
same. It doesn't matter.
Well, they're both under
just
a
the A
Nazi
words.
regime.
They're both under a regime without the handlebar bristle mustache.
Well,
yeah,
and they don't even have like the cool, you know, there's nothing cool about it. It's a bunch of Karens running things and a bunch of, yeah.
All right, Mike, you just brought the entire broadcast down. What the fuck? That's sad. That sucks. And I've had friends that have gone that route. Have committed suicide. That's not good. And that sucks. That's gonna hurt for a while. That's right. Ever use your knowledge and experience to support your family? No, actually, I have not, and there's a reason for that because I'm part of the family. They're not going to listen to a goddamn thing that I say. They're not. They're just not. Can I direct them and sort of guide them? Yes, but I don't talk to my family right now for a variety of reasons. I'm not going to go into that online because they are not here to defend themselves, and I'm not. That's not who I am. I'm not going to do that. But having said
I, on
that,
the other hand, have far lower moral standards, so I'm going to indulge you.
Thank you, James. You can completely go ahead because you've had run-ins with my sibling.
Indeed. And so I'm not going to talk about your sibling. I will talk about my family, and Vince will be able to confirm this by way of the similarities. Is people, I mean, something Vince told me was, and he heard this from his psychology professor, I believe it was your family can push your buttons because they put them there.
Correct.
And when you go back to, I mean, it's all over the red pill space. It's all over any psychology space. The idea that the starting context of any given relationship, it's not just romantic relationships. This applies to everything. The starting context of that relationship, who's in power, who's not in power, who's in what social standing, and who has what personality, determines, that is the foundation for the rest of your interactions with that person for the rest of your lives, even if the two of you change wildly. So, when it comes to a family, and a particularly abusive family, those people are not going to, even if they do potentially change at some point in the future, and you certainly hope that they do, they were in a position of power over you that you could not escape from because you don't pick your family. Otherwise, we wouldn't have that situation to begin with. So when you go back to them, you are in a position, always in a position, where if they ever fall off the wagon, even if they've gotten straight, even if they straighten themselves out, if they ever fall out the wagon, you are probably going to be, if you're in proximity to them, you will be the first target. You'll be the first person to bear that burden, to bear the brunt of their moral failings and shit like that. And so once I completely cut my family off, right now it's been minor. I'm ignoring texts from my sister and my sisters and my mother and anything that doesn't have to do with getting the rest of my shit down here.
Let me know.
And it's, that's going to, I genuinely hope they change their ways someday. I hope that they learn from the opportunity to interact with other people who they do not have direct power over and thus are forced to sort of act in a normal fashion with those people. But I'm not going to be the person who does that. It doesn't matter what my expertise is. It doesn't matter what my resources are. I certainly have no obligation to do that. I am the one person in the world who is freed from that responsibility, even if you could come up with some justification for it being my duty or whatever, is that I'm the one person in the world who could, at any point, should they slip up, be the brunt of their moral failings at any given time. So that's the case for separation. This is the thing that Stefan Mahler talked about with defooing, and it's objectively correct. I have no responsibility to these people. There's no utility in doing it. Anybody else in the world will be able to assist those people far better than I will, because when they look at me, even if they don't act on it, they will constantly in the back of their mind be like, have the temptation to revert to this older style of behavior which we have deemed unacceptable, defeating the purpose of helping them to begin with.
Very good point. Very good point. And a lot of the going sorry, private comments derailed me. Fuck you, Nick. Jesus Christ. And James is correct. What it comes down to is what these people are doing in your life, how they are derailing you, how are they helping you or hindering you. That's what it comes down to. And I know that may sound very cold and callous, but at the end of the day, your mental health and your own sanity behooves you to make those sort of adjustments in your life. It's like, who's helping you and who's hindering you. Just because they're your blood doesn't mean they're helping you. And I dealt with that bullshit for over 20 years. Very long time.
Well, it's like certain swimmers, will tell you, lifeguards and stuff, that if the person that is drowning is fighting you, chances are both of you will drown when you try to save them.
Correct.
It's just, if they aren't listening to you, if they aren't responding to you, if they aren't helping you to help them, then, is it worth drowning for?
Exactly.
Kind of like when we were helping Aaron out with his autism.
There's no help for that, TJ. We tried.
We tried.
We gave it
a
try.
The problem with Aaron is it's not, autism is actually kind of a good thing. Aaron's just a retard.
Aaron's just a retard.
That's, there's. I do want to go back to something James said, because I think he's right, and I've seen this play out a lot. I've been fortunate enough that my family isn't perfect, but it's not that fucked up. So, I've always had a decent relationship with my parents and my brother and all that. But extended family wise, I've seen this kind of stuff play out, and it's a very and there are members of my family that I have had to distance myself from at different points in the past, and that's the difficult thing for people to do, is to be able to distance themselves from somebody, especially if it's a parent or somebody who played a large role in their life when they were younger. There's a lot of guilt and a lot of kind of your own feeling of abandonment that I've picked up from people who've had to do that. And I don't envy anybody that has to do that, because that's a difficult thing.
That's true. No, good point. It's not,
I'll tell you something that's interesting that I've observed, and it's kind of weird, I guess, to talk about, but I think especially for men, at some point after you reach a certain age and whatever, and I think that may vary from family to family, but you kind of have to flip your mother in terms of authority. And the healthier families that I've seen are the ones in which this is just me now. And I'm not, there's no academic or any other kind of real world credentials behind this except my own experience. But I think that you have to, I think in the best cases, at some point, either the mother voluntarily or is somewhat forced to take a more submissive role to her adult son.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when that happens, I don't think that can happen unless your family is somewhat healthy to begin with, but I've definitely seen that kind of play out and be a thing in a certain sense. And in my family, that my mother was a very dominant personality, and I kind of, in terms of my relationship with her, I had to break her of that. Now, my brother is just the opposite. He's kind of submissive towards her, but he's also passive aggressive and snotty about it. Whereas I'm just like, all right, woman, you're my mother and I respect you, but I'll see you later. And it may be 3 months later until, it's really a lot of the same kind of demonstrate, don't explicate stuff that a lot of dudes apply to their girlfriends, but the same dynamic kind of exists, with any other female. And as you get older, that relationship with your mother is really no different in that regard, and sort of the power dynamic. Anyway,
no, it's a good point.
Take it or leave it. That's been my observation.
No, I like it. Thank you. And you should probably just shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up. James, please illustrate again.
Shut the fuck up.
There you go. It's iconic.
I'm sorry. As the producer, writer, and director of The Biggest Dicks, that is incorrect. But whatever.
Well, the fact that you have Biggest and Dicks in your flagship release of your radio program,
which I appreciated.
The fact that you guys are the biggest dicks is
that's
another.
true. Well, I know. We're one of the voices. Yeah. Oh shit. TJ, you're on a pipe now. Is that the Hobbit pipe?
Yes, that's the one. No, it's not the Hobbit pipe. It's the Gandalf pipe you gave me.
Oh, okay, cool.
I finally
Glad you're enjoying that.
So I bought at an antique store a pipe holder that had enough for so many pipes, and I've officially filled them all.
Oh shit! How many do you have? Show us.
Well, hey.
See? We gotta see some shit here.
Yeah, there's not much else in the room to show. So
it's like
show
a
us the pipe
photo
holder.
and your dumbass.
Is that a picture of Elon Musk on the wall behind him? Who is that?
All right.
I'm dead. It's over.
All right.
Nice.
Oh, you've got what, 8 of them now?
Yeah, something like that.
Nice.
Here's this one. And there's the this is the official Gandalf pipe.
Okay. And there's the one I gave you.
This is the clay one. This I take on my hikes a lot because it's like durable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you brought that to Village by the Sea.
This is a little corncob pipe. Also, I take on hikes because it's small.
Okay.
That's how small it is. Yeah.
It's
like Aaron Clary.
Whoa, we're not going to go there.
This is the Patterson one.
Oh, yeah.
It's good. It's a good pipe. I like it. This is one I've had almost the longest of them all. It's just a regular.
Yeah. I remember when you first had that when we first started the broadcast almost 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Similar one.
Damn. We're up to 8, 9 now? 8, 9?
This is the one I got at Gettysburg.
Oh, that's right. We were in the World War II shop, the battlefield shop. Nice. That was cool. It's like an antique.
Yeah. If you look, I don't know if it shows, but it has like where the ants burrowed into the briar.
Well, like ant tunnels.
Yeah.
Cool.
Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yep, 9. Yeah.
Nice.
Do you have a specific blend of tobacco you like to smoke with your pipe?
Vince has sent me this stuff. These guys, obviously, like we're not paid to do this stuff, but like, what's it called? The county shire in
really, they're so good.
Mississippi. And the reason why I got to go through Vince is because we're not allowed to ship tobacco across state lines in my state because we're a bunch of. Sorry, we're not. But if you want to go get, yeah, I could go on a rant, but that's just the reality. Is we can't ship tobacco to my state, so I got to go through other people. That stuff is really good, but Second Breakfast that they make is amazing.
It's that vanilla at the end. It's so good.
Yeah.
I got you the Second Breakfast and the Old Toby. And what's the new one? The other one.
Bacon. I'm smoking right now. It's really good. It's kind of got that Cavendish taste of like the consummate gentleman, but also.
Oh yeah. Okay. Cool. James, Mike, to answer your question, James, have you met his family? No, he has not, but he has met numerous egg Twitter accounts that I know is my brother because the context and the tone of voice and the questions that he uses and the vitriol that comes out of his virtual mouth, that I know it's my brother. My brother has gone ahead and created, and I've kept a tally of them, and they've all gone to my lawyer because if he has not done anything recently, but if he continues to do bullshit online, I will pursue legal action. And everything that he does, all the tweets, all the egg accounts that he creates, all of the text messages that he had sent me, all are with my lawyer. The anti-Semitic messages, the late night rantings that are just like a woman, they're just like long verses of texts. They're insane. So yes, in essence, James has met my brother. So yes.
I doubt there's anything else there beyond what I've seen.
Exactly. So enough about the family. I'm not talking any more about it because I'm done. So no more family questions. If you want more family questions, you have to pay me.
Go to masculinegeek.life for MG. Listen, if you want to ask MG therapy questions, I will go into the forums and I will happily engage with that.
James will be the surrogate therapist you always wanted.
His response to everything is shut the fuck up, though.
Exactly. And they'll delight in it because it's the voice. It's not anything that I'm saying that has value. It's that it's coming out of my voice.
Father, yeah. that almost father like sound to you. Yes.
Speaking of MG Life, has there been any new newsletters on Monday last week or two?
No, there's been bupkis.
Okay.
I haven't had much to say. Sorry to say that. I will probably post something out on training women.
Okay.
I will have one this week. It was supposed to be this past week.
Yeah, I know.
I literally texted.
I thought that was funny. You Twitter DM'd me. You're like, send me the link. I'm like, all right, cool. And then I look. I'm like,
I've been doing some ghostwriting lately, so I can ghostwrite your newsletter for you guys.
You can absolutely write something for us.
I'll make up some shit for all of you.
You should totally just make you do like a Dear Abby kind of column.
That's right.
You can just call it "Shut the Fuck Up."
I will be the Abigail Van Buren of Masculine Geek.
I love it. There you go.
It's so difficult because I don't know, like my coming down here. There's all these different experiences I've been going through. And it's a mix of, I want to talk to everybody about this, while understanding that there are certain things in my personal life, like my romantic life is largely private, outside of a few excursions. And last time I went past those little boundaries, I did
You
not
did
have
those,
any
yeah.
issues. I didn't. Yeah, it was fine. A few times prior, there have been issues where with unsolicited advice and like if I say something like, "I find the women I date in New Jersey boring," or "I find most of the women I've dated in Philadelphia boring," the thing I do not want to hear is then a rant about from somebody explaining to me how to get them to talk about themselves. The words I said were, "I find them boring. I'm an artist, I'm a writer, I'm a voice actor. I can find the interesting bits in a person if they are there. It's my job."
And
It's my
I
job.
know, and exactly, and I know you do try to find that. You're very, you do give the benefit of the doubt.
Yes.
Absolutely. No, I know that about you. So it's true.
But if the main thing I'm coming away from, somebody who, for instance, I'm thinking to engage with, and this was like 2 years ago, I think now, thinking to engage in a long-term relationship with, the highlight of their existence is the fact that they're $100,000 in debt from, and to this day, I do not know whether it's an archaeology degree or an anthropology degree, because I kept forgetting and mixing the two up, because the thing that stuck in my brain was $100,000 in debt.
I know, right? There's no way past that, actually.
I kept fucking it up past it because I always stumbled over in my head $100,000. It's like, no, the distinction, that's my subconscious trying to tell me something that actually which degree it was did not matter. There's a different element here that you're missing, James. There's something else here that you should be focusing on, James.
Yeah. Geeky Anomaly says you want to read that, James, and I'll explain something I explained recently to one of my girls.
It is not hard to get a woman to talk about herself.
Exactly. I was in a conversation with one of my main girls at the moment, and she was talking about her former life, and she had been married before, and her husband had cheated on her, and blah 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 blah, yeah, whatever. And she's running off this list of all of her qualities, and it's like, oh yeah, I have a master's degree, and I have a business, and I do all this and this and that, and I'm intelligent. And I looked at her up and down, checked out her ass, her legs, her pussy, her breasts, finally settled back on her eyes. She knew what I meant by body language, but I came out and said, I was like, playing devil's advocate here, but we don't give a shit about that. We don't care if you can read. We don't care if you speak another language. Because let's put it this way, you go to another country, you interacting with a beautiful woman or a non-beautiful woman, whatever, someone you're attracted to, and maybe you're using Google Translate, and there's a language barrier there. Is that going to stop you from fucking her? Absolutely not. No. And if she's into you, it's not going to stop her either. So no, we don't give a shit about that stuff. And guys run into a problem wherein they think that they have to make themselves interesting to the woman by talking. Stop that. No. You can. I've probably said to this woman, who's my main and has been my main for almost 4 weeks, I've probably said 100 words to her in 4 weeks. I'm not lying. The rest is up to her.
Aaron Clary is a douchebag.
A big gay douchebag. Yes. She's carried the conversations. My body language and who I am and my presence is all that's needed. And guys that get it, get it. The guys that don't are floundering around. And some dudes have reached out to me. It's like, well, how does that? How do you do that? I can't. It's almost like trying to explain or describe how you breathe, because you've been doing it so long. You have to just get out there and do it. A lot of guys think that, okay, well, if I don't do this, then she's going to leave me. I found this one woman that I really resonate with, and it's like everything that I ever thought about. Okay, now they have to do everything in their power to hold on to her, and that includes putting up with stupid bullshit. So, all right, you keep putting up with the stupid bullshit, and we'll see how far that lasts you. Women get to complain. Women in my life get to complain no more than 30 minutes, and I'm being very judicious. No more than 30 minutes. Everything else is physical, where we're going on an adventure. And when I say an adventure, exactly, men don't want to fuck your degree. We don't look across the street and go, oh my God, that woman's amazing. She's got 130 IQ and she has a master's degree in basket weaving. We don't fucking give a shit about that. But when I say take a woman on an adventure, a lot of guys are going to think, well, I don't have the money for that. I can't. I'm not that kind of guy. I'm a nice guy.
Go to a nature preserve. Go
exactly
anywhere.
Exactly. An adventure is this. I'll give you an example. I told her, Friday, clear your plans. We're having pizza. Okay. We're having a pizza party, as it were, a pizza an adventure. On a blanket in front of the fireplace with wine and oil lamps going and candles. And this is what I want you to wear, and you'll be here at this time. Or you could say, all right, you've set up a small weekend getaway, which may cost you a couple $100 for an Airbnb, and you've made an adventure. And it's someplace you want to go. You bring her along with you. All right, pack a bag for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Be at my place at this time. And that's it. She doesn't need to know anything else. She doesn't want to know anything else except what you want her to wear and where you want her to show up and what time. That's it. And that's it. That's all you need to do.
You know, I want to go back to what you said about the complaining, because I actually got to the point where I tell my girls, don't complain to me at all. It's like if you know, and you know, there's one chick I've been seeing for a long time. She goes to see a therapist once a month, and I said, save it for your therapist. I was like, if you want me to help you solve a problem, I will happily do that. But the minute you start telling me why it won't work, or you start complaining, then you need to shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up.
And that you would be surprised. You know, I said, look, your girlfriends are for, you know, bitching. You know, bitch about me, bitch about whoever you want to. But, you know, my life is too short to listen to people bitch. I don't do that.
No, absolutely. No, that's why I give the 30-minute rule. Like, yeah. And I've told her, I was like, look, you're here for one reason. I'm going to tie you up, gag you, and fuck you, and beat your ass. Is that a problem? No, sir. There you go. The women have the need to complain about something. Right. We know this. It's not politically correct, but we know this. Right. I allow for that, and that's fine. You get 30 minutes, and it can be broken up. It's indelible, but I'm timing your ass. But yes, you get 30 minutes because they do need that. They need that, and that's fine. You give them that little bit, and some tension there, and it's almost like, oh shit, I got to get. It's like a game.
Right. Well, I mean, I think the point is that you have however you want to handle it, whether you want to, you know, be the hardest ass like me, or be kinder and gentler like Vince. Give him a little time, but you have to set the ground rules and the boundaries for that. And if you do that, you will be in you will have much better frame in that relationship. And the way what I do, and it's funny considering we've, you know, been on the shut the fuck up thing all night, because you know, our good buddy Ryan Stone, you know, he advocates that sort of intentionally pissing her off to give her some drama, just to keep things interesting, kind of stuff. And, you know, one of the things that I believe it was he who said at one time was, he's like, sometimes just tell her to shut the fuck up. Yeah. And I do that. You know, I was like, you know, that's kind of funny. I think I'll do that.
Shut the fuck. You pull James.
So
shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up.
And the first time I told a chick to shut the fuck up, they just gave me that, look like, I'm a big asshole and whatever else. And they went away and wouldn't talk to me for 30 minutes. And
Right.
then they came back and eventually it all worked out fine. She got her outrage and her fight. And, I got some peace and quiet for 30 minutes. So.
Exactly.
So it was a win-win.
Oh yeah,
right.
Women, yeah, women. I'll tell you right now, there's some exceptions, and they don't prove the rule. But women want to be told what to do. They want to be handled, as it were. I'll give you an example. This is the girl. I found my recipe for the British Christmas pudding. I can put any dried fruit in it. I was going to go with figs and cherries. Do you approve? My response is, I do approve. Good girl. She writes meow. Like, the proper response is, yes, sir. Pleasing you makes meow. Pleasing you makes me wet. Appropriate response is in parentheses.
Mm-hmm.
Guys don't understand that they have this. That's their birthright. That's the bottom line. That's the natural order of things. I don't care if that's politically correct. If you think I'm misogynistic or sex, I don't fucking care. That's the natural order of things, and that's how it goes. And once guys realize this, their lives get infinitesimally easier.
Yeah, I think so. I think, and that's been true for me. And I know I sound like a big asshole right now, and that's because I kind of am, and I don't care.
Exactly.
That's just me. But all of that takes place in the. I mean, the girlfriends I have are treated very, very well, and they get a lot from me. Okay, over time, once they've proven themselves and all that kind of shit. But they get a lot from me. But part of the requirement for getting as much as I give is that, I got to have shit the way I like it. And that's just all, and that was difficult to do at first, because that's one of the biggest flips you make from kind of the, if you want to call it blue pill or red pill or however you want to, whatever metaphors you want to use. I don't think it matters, but that's hard to do at first.
You can call it nice guy.
Yeah, going from just going from No More Mr. Nice Guy, which is a good book, by the way. But that was difficult to do the first time, and then it gradually got easier, and now it feels normal. And if I weren't going to do that, then it would feel all fucked up. So you can make it happen if you want to.
Absolutely. Oh. And the thing is going ahead and giving yourself permission to do so, and taking that risk. Because a lot of guys, they get stuck on one woman. They think that's the end and be all, and they put everything into it. So they try to be as nice as possible and try to walk. They walk on. What they wind up doing is walking on eggshells around her, and placating her out the ass. And that's anti-seductive and anti-desirous to women. Women don't want that. One of the worst things you can do to a woman when you're especially when you're first seeing her, dating her, whatever, is these guys. And I've had women tell me, oh, they before even I get up in the morning, they send me these good morning texts. Jesus Christ, don't do that ever.
Good morning, sunshine.
Exactly. You are the biggest fucking simping retard walking the planet. I'll tell you right now, your interaction textually and verbally and everything, even physically, she should want you and interact with you more than you do her, because that's the natural order of things. Because women look up to and admire men. Women want to chase the man that they desire and are attracted to. If you become more like her and do that textual shit, you're going to dry her pussy up like this fucking Sahara in a goddamn drought. I've been there. Not only have I read these stories of other guys, I've fucking been there. Don't do that.
The biggest mistake you can make is trying to be accommodating and, oh, well, where do you want to eat? No, you tell her where you want to eat, because that's what she wants, is for you to tell her where you're eating, what you're eating. Or if you're telling her, well, I was hoping you'd make pizza tonight, or I expect you to make pizza tonight, or whatever. When men stop being decision makers and sure of themselves, it's the thing with the nice guys and the assholes. Why the assholes always get the girls? I'm such a nice guy, but when it's the fact that the guys you might think are assholes are decisive. They know what they want. They know what they don't want. They know what they'll put up with. They know what they won't put up with. And they're certain of themselves to a certain degree. Now, that might come off as an asshole to someone, but that's someone's problem. That's not their problem. It's not, if you think Nick's an asshole, well, fine. Nick doesn't have a problem with that. But Nick knows who he is. He knows what he wants. He knows what works for him. He knows what doesn't work for him.
He's a lovable asshole.
Yeah. But I mean, the thing is, an honest, straight shooter, you're better off with than, even if that means that sometimes the person's an asshole, but
absolutely. No, you're right. Absolutely.
In a sphere of men, you want that amongst your friends. You want your friends that will call you out and say, Robert, that is the stupidest freaking thing I've ever heard you say.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah. It's like, no, you do not want to do that. Do not call that woman back. Do not, that's what you want from your friends. And from women in your life, you want them to know that they can always count, that you know what you're doing. Even Correct. If you don't know, if you present yourself in a way, it's like, this is how it is. This is my life. This is how you work into my life. And if that works for you, great. If that doesn't work for you, that's fine too.
Exactly.
I mean, part of my reason for all that is that having long conversations with women is just it's like it's drudgery.
It's draining.
It's like the most. It's like nah. Now, if you're having a good time, whatever short period of time, yeah, but getting some kind of, the only time I ever get into long, deep, meaning conversations with women is if I'm fucking with them.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah, you're fucking right. Exactly.
And I'm, I saw a UFO once. And, all that kind of shit. I just want to shout out to Mish. Thanks. Yeah, manufactured drama. That's what he calls it. I couldn't remember.
Oh yeah. No, initially, like when you're first dating, you're first like interacting, is like you have that initial like volcanic eruption of emotion and desire to be around her all the time and tell her all this shit. And all right, that's fine. I get that. That's gonna fade. That's not always gonna be there. You have to meter out your attention and what you disclose. Like I said, she does most of the talking. I was making fun of her. I was like, you do realize that when you talk, this is what I hear. You remember that, the Charlie Brown series, wah 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 wah. Like when women talk, that's what I hear. Here's the deal. When guys walk into a room, like in public, there's two things that we do. And I mentioned this in the newsletter almost 2 years ago. Number one, whose ass can I kick? And where are the fire exits? Mm-hmm. Number two, that's 1 and 2. Number 2 is the women that I interact with in that room and I'm talking to, I'm wondering what my dick looks like in their mouth. Or in my case, a ball gag or whatever. Or obviously of age and consensuality and all that shit. But yeah, it almost doesn't matter what age. I'm like, wow, she needs to shut up and suck my dick.
I was supposed to Aaron, who's like, I wonder if you would peg me.
I wonder how her peg would feel. Yeah. That is very true.
I wonder if that would contribute to GDP.
Exactly. Aaron is very concerned about the economics of the women he talks to. But I mean, we're not dating coaches, but we have picked up a few things along the way. And we can impart them to you, and I hope.
I mean, you picked up women along the way. I'd like to think.
I have seen more ass than a Chinese toilet seat.
The one time I tried to be a dating coach, I was with some friends in Pensacola. We were at a beach bar a couple summers ago. It was right before COVID, the summer before that year COVID hit, and And unfortunately, I broke my rule about drinking too much in public, and so we were at this place, and we were talking to these college chicks, and one of them was sitting on my buddy's lap, and she was kind of fucking with him about, I bet you didn't think you could get like a college girl sit on your lap and all this other shit. And they were pretty good looking. And I said, honey, everybody's a 6 with their clothes on. Mm-hmm. And she got really mad. And so
she wasn't even a 6.
She was a 9. I mean, wow. She was like, they were just graduating. They were down there for a party. They were top shelf for sure. So I negged her like that, and they ran off, but she kept every time she'd get a little bit drunker, she'd come find me in that place and start bitching at me again. And, so like, it's all right. I said, look, let's talk about it. I grabbed her by the hand and I pulled her in close, and I put my arm around her waist, and she looked at me like, what the fuck's happening?
Right, exactly.
Like, what are you doing? And she sat there for a minute. She's like, oh, no, we're not doing that. She stopped off and walked away again. But then, 10 minutes later,
yeah,
she came back again. Now that's as far as it went. Right. But still, I mean, it was that whole thing. And then they had all the dudes showed up, all the college dudes showed up. And they were all the chicks were at this. It was this weird bar, and they had like all these little niche stages, like it was a titty bar or something with and so all these girls were giving their boyfriends their purses and hopping up on these little stages and dancing because there was music playing. And so I started ripping all these college dudes for holding their girlfriends' purses, and I was like, you guys look like a bunch of bitches holding their purses and all this other shit. And so they were just kind of, I don't know if they were listening to me or just humoring me or what, but my buddies were like, hey, I think we need to go. You're getting a little bit, you're drawing a little bit too much attention over here. But so that was the one time I tried to be a dating coach. I was a little bit too drunk in a bar, yelling at these college dudes for holding their girlfriends' purses while they danced up on these stages. And
I have to say that's solid advice, though.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, no doubt. I mean, it was
drunk or not, and it's solid advice.
It was ridiculous, but
yeah, I don't know how. Yeah. I don't know what. See, we were talking about pipes. We were talking about pipes, and it segued tobacco pipes, and it segued into pussy, into women, which is always a good topic to discuss. We are men, after all. Yeah. So, TJ, you enjoying the new abode?
Quite.
Cool. I'm very glad to hear that.
How far away did you move from where you were?
Probably 60, 70 miles. Like an hour away.
Are you closer to the airport?
Yeah, I'm still
excellent. Fantastic.
I'm still off the same highway in a rural area, so my environment has not changed too much in that regard. I gotta say though, the people here hate Joe Biden. I went to the bar, which is a couple of yards away from me. There's women who are wearing "Let's Go Brandon" sweatshirts, yelling "Let's Go Brandon," and one of the guys is talking about how Joe Biden crapped his pants in the Vatican, and one of the internet network systems in the community is Joe's a pedophile. So like I'm just like, okay, like they're rural working class guys, people, but man, like they did not hate Joe Biden that much where I came from. That was Central Washington. Now I'm in Western Washington. My area, it's kind of funny. Like I moved to a much more politically right-wing area of the state, and I didn't realize it. Like the people in here are so like, they're not like on the sidelines or like, oh, we're going to kind of hide it. It's like, no, we hate this guy and we hate people who like him.
Oh, nice.
So it's kind of funny. Like I was like, oh, okay. And, the prices are actually a lot better because it's closer to, like freight, like trucking routes or whatever, that kind of stuff. So like stuff is just cheaper, but and my house is a lot bigger, obviously. But yeah, it was funny. Like I walked into a bar and there's this lady with "Let's Go Brandon," and they're all having drinks and like screaming "Let's Go Brandon." And the one guy's like, "Yeah, Joe's a pedophile and he crapped in the Vatican." And
in that order. In that order.
I was at a coffee shop today, and like a bunch of old ladies were like, "Yeah, COVID's not real."
Thank you for finally noticing.
Yeah, they're like, "It's not real. Nobody's wearing a mask, and it's not affecting anybody. It's just made up." I'm like, this is a bunch of old ladies in Western Washington. So
Nice. Sounds like where I was a couple Wednesdays ago when I went to that concert. I got off of 70 toward the western side of downstate Illinois, and the first few yards I went by going into the small town had flags and banners and everything up.
Yeah.
That were saying "Let's go Brandon" or actually "F Joe Biden." And I mean, it was like several yards. There were, and one in particular had to have had at least a half a dozen or more just in their yard, and then in front of certain businesses and everything else. And it was, but there's always the joke that there's like Chicago and then there's the rest of Illinois.
Yeah.
But because Chicago is so massive in size, where it votes pretty much eliminates the rest of the state of Illinois.
It's the same thing here. Like, like part of the state I'm in, you'll see people with like very radical stuff on their bumper stickers or on their trucks. And the thing is, this is on the west side of the state. This is not on the east side where it's considered more right wing. I think the people here are more radical because they've been pushed out, and this is kind of their last stand. And so it's interesting to watch it because a lot of these people are kind of like, I think they're kind of like digging in for the long haul. And so I had to explain to them like, "Oh, well, you're from this area. Like, what's your own thing?" I'm like, "Yeah, I left the area because it was way too liberal and it was in Central Washington." I'm like, "Oh, okay. Like he's one of us, guys. He's one of us." Yeah. So it was.
All right, Mish. Good to see you in the chat. Thanks for hanging out with us and chatting, as it were, as much as you can in the chat. Let me just stop saying the word chat. I used to live in Oregon. There are interesting people in those. Yeah, there's interesting people in every rural area. Absolutely. It's part of the fun. See, I don't mind. As much as the insanity of the world is happening, I don't mind it because it's supposed to happen, if that makes sense. I don't want everything to be boring and predictable and follow a script and follow rules. But at the same time, I'm going to stand my ground on certain on certain aspects of what I believe in. That's just the bottom line. I expect other people to do the same, and that's part of the game. That's part of the fun. Otherwise, you might as well just kill yourself. Just end it all. But yeah, no, I'm not advocating for suicide, but you get my meaning. It's like that's the meaning you add to your life, and the joy and exuberance of experiencing life, both the positive and the negative. As much as we complain about shit, it gives your life a certain zest. I just love my country and want things to go smooth. No, I absolutely agree. I mean, but it comes back to what we just talked about. This has been going on for a very long time. The only reason why we're aware of it is because of social media.
Don't you know we're in a war here, son?
That's right, you sons of bitches. I think one of the best things to do occasionally is to put down social media and the internet and not engage. I mean, I grew up with that. I didn't grow up with the internet. I grew up with silence.
You grew up with TV signing off at, 11, 12 o'clock at night, maybe 1 or 2
I wasn't
on
even
the
allowed.
weekends.
I wasn't even allowed up that fucking late. I mean, when I was very young, my bedtime was 8 o'clock.
Mhm.
We were allowed to watch Sesame Street, Electric Company, and Mr. Rogers growing up. That was it. That was for a very good portion of our young lives. We were yelled at to get our goddamn ass inside for dinner. Get your goddamn ass inside for dinner. Kids today are yelled at to get outside.
Mhm.
It's in reverse. Things are, for good or for ill, things are changing differently. And the only thing, James, I'm talking about this, and James is like, I don't know what you're talking about because I didn't experience it. And other people of James's age, just like, I that's not my experience. Well, you have a new experience that that I'm glad James is in this group, because I can get a different perspective, because I didn't live that way. I didn't grow up that way. I didn't grow up with the internet. I didn't grow up with this instant, for lack of a better word, internet family. Didn't have that. James, has that been your experience? Like, you've had that? That's been a great boon and tool for you, is having this internet family that you've created.
Extremely. I can count the number of folks who've. I have to be careful how I word this. I have a number of IRL friends, right?
Mm-hmm.
The number of folks who've made this sort of impact on my life, where it's changed the trajectory of my life, insofar as more so than just making it more pleasant by and large, I can count on one hand. And that list is smaller when it comes to people who I've met in real life as opposed to on the internet.
Yeah.
In fact, there are exceptions. Like Jake, my roommate.
Yeah.
I met him in college. I didn't meet him online. And he, through our discussions about rooming together, and at first the idea was for Philadelphia, but then he met his girlfriend online through his YouTube channel, and decided when he was going to move out, he's like, there's all these business opportunities down in Texas. There's this girl down in Texas. Why not? I'll move. And he's enjoying a fantastic life, and I got to come with him. And now I'm enjoying it. Certainly an improvement from my prior life.
Absolutely. Cool.
But yeah.
And you're the same way, Robert. You're like me. You're straddling both the digital and the analog age.
Oh, yeah. Well, and I was fortunate that I spent a big part of my childhood in a rural part of Indiana with people without, indoor bathrooms and things like that. So I got to experience aspects of, life pre my birth just by growing up in that kind of surrounding with a lot of people who are much older than I. My great uncle, with whom I spent a lot of time, and actually took care of me when I caught pneumonia as a child, was born in 1900. He passed away sadly in 1980. But I learned a lot of different life lessons and things from him. And his younger sister was my great grandmother, and so spent a lot of time with her. So a lot of time walking in cemeteries, a lot of time going to funerals. So learned a little bit about death at a very early age, probably too young, but still, when I have dreams at night, the house I dream about is my Uncle Bob's house, and the kind of surroundings. But growing up there was, a lot of really good memories as well. The first time a young lady took her top off for me was down there in my youth. So
nice.
Learn a lot of interesting things. Not least of which, never take dating advice or sex advice from a woman. So at least when you're a guy. But that's for another show. But anyway, yeah, no, but yeah, it was a really interesting experience doing that. And so I got, which probably just fueled my already instinctive curiosity and my natural interest in things like history. The things like, it wasn't long after winning the Revolutionary War that this new government of ours was very quick to try to suppress the ideas of rebellion, because now it was nation building time. And so, the fighting spirit that, made us stand up against the British, which was a relatively small portion of America that was interested in standing up to the British, that fire was very quickly trying to be suppressed. And, but this kind of stuff has been going on forever. The fact that, the media is partisan, I will agree that it's probably at a level and predominantly one-sided more than probably it has been. But I mean, when you look at the names of old newspapers, the Philadelphia Democrat and the such and such Republican, or whatever political party, if you're getting back to, well, this was a Whigs newspaper, or this was the Democratic Republicans newspaper. And, when you actually do the research, you find out that, oh yeah, the media has always been partisan. It's just been partisan for different things at different times for different parties or different individuals. And, so yeah, it's one of those things where I get irritated about things because as a guy who is a father, I've got, and grandfather, I've got skin in the game.
Yeah.
As far as what the future turns out to be. But, some farmer out that lived on the outskirts of Pompeii in the shadow of Mount Vesuvius, I'm sure he probably worried about the future of his offsprings as well. And,
the same concerns and likes and dislikes.
Yeah, some Celt, some legionnaire serving along Hadrian's Wall, it's certain things have always been things we worry about, things we're concerned about, and somehow this earth keeps spinning and we continue to exist. And when that comes to an end, I can't say. I've not been granted that vision of the future, although I've read several books that were pretty interesting that had their own predictions or thoughts about it. In fact, some people here even write books like that. So, but yeah, so I try to temper my concern with taking action where I can take action and trying to maintain and be true to my own principles on things. And so there you have it.
Oh, that's the way to be.
And in the end, if my kids remember me, my grandkids remember me, then I guess I've accomplished more than some guys have.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But the main question is from Jack Napier. James, you want to read that? You're muted, you son of a bitch. Again. Oh my God.
Here, James, you move your mouth and I'll do the voice.
I clicked the button twice and it did not work.
Jesus.
So, why does TJ look like that? Did he just wake up?
And that's for you, TJ, to answer, not me.
No, I did not just wake up, you freaky deaky Dutch. I was just liberating one of your towns again.
Damn, and trying to find your bicycle that was stolen.
Oh, God. Yeah, your country needed rescuing again. What can I do?
You still here, Jack?
Which is funny coming from Jack, who always has a beanie on when he does a show because he's just woken up.
Right.
Has Golden Member left the chat?
Gold member. Gold.
I'm from Holland, isn't that bad?
I totally forgot about that movie. I have an unfortunate smelting accident. Oh, shit. Well, if there's no other questions from the chat, there's 8 people watching. Make sure you go hit that like button. Go like and subscribe. Share this video if you think it's cool and you think other people would like it. Leave a comment, positive or negative. We don't care. It's all the same to the YouTube algorithm. Get us out there. Get us well known. I think Masco and Geek will be 3 years as of this January. So we have a little bit of longevity to us. Slowly growing. We're over 2,000 YouTube subscribers. We do have a question from Geeky Anomaly, and I think he's asked this question before, but I got lost in the shuffle. James, what voiceover have you done?
Very little beyond the Punch Riot thing. There was a book I was initially commissioned to get on. I could not do it due to life circumstances, and now that I'm free and able to do it, no voice work.
There you go.
So I gotta drum up some for myself.
I have some ideas to send your way. So, and I've already mentioned one to you in the Twitter DMs, but there's.
I'm not sure how to monetize that one, so that might have to wait.
It's
not
not
might
really
be fun anyways.
It's not really monetization so much as it is fun and getting your voice out there. But I'll talk to you about that in off air.
Sweet.
I have some ideas for you. Anyone else? You sound like a guy from an RPG. He better be in another 5 years. He better be a guy on an RPG. Let's put it that way. You know that guy that does the movie trailers? I want James to be that next guy. Absolutely.
Walk in for a few $1,000s or a few tens.
A few $1,000s. That guy's like in the 80s and 90s and even
this summer,
2000s. This
one
summer,
man
one man will
save
take
the
you to the
world.
limits. He will
Yeah.
bust this right across your mouth. Oh yeah, he made anywhere between I think $80,000 to $100,000 per trailer voiceover that he did, and a limo came to pick him up to the studio and take him home.
Yeah.
It doesn't get much easier than that. I mean, that's the hope and the goal that I have. I personally have for James.
Well, even
I'm going to make sure that
much
happens.
appreciated.
Absolutely.
Yeah, even doing a national commercial voiceover can net you some big money. So, I mean, I did all right just for commercials played within the state of Indiana. So,
There you go.
if you can get a national, Burger Chef, home of the
Mhm.
Whopper, something like that. You can
Texas
make big
Tomboy
money.
is taking me out again for a one of the places we're going to stop at next is that computer store we mentioned. And
Okay.
picking
Oh,
up a new
nice.
microphone, something that we're going for something that you've seen this when I'm in person is my voice has a resonance to it. You don't always get across the microphone because it's able to pick up a sound that hangs in the air for an extra second.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And it rarely shows up on the microphone, which is regrettable, but there are microphones which can pick that up. So we'll be picking up one of those.
Cool. You did Old Navy commercials in 2003. That's pretty awesome.
Lucky man.
Absolutely. Do you still do commercials? Meh. Ooh. That's
And
pretty
Geeky's the
bad,
one who said he's from Indiana as well, right?
I believe so, yes.
Boonesville, is what he
Yeah.
said.
No? Okay. Did you enjoy doing them? That sounds like it'd be kind of fun. I mean, just from my own point of view. Like, oh, that's kind of cool. Get up and do a voiceover for something.
I enjoy it. It doesn't seem like work. Well,
Yeah, right. It's
I
just your
mean,
voice.
It doesn't seem like work, but if you care about what you're doing, you put work into it. So I mean, even
Gotcha. Yeah, makes sense.
Dude, fucking sanity is a future of wealth. Took me 8-hour recording session.
Well, yeah, because you've got it. You can spend an hour on 1 to 5 minutes of airtime. You can easily spend an hour just even doing multiple takes, just because it's like that doesn't sound right. The flow's not right. The tempo is not right.
Exactly. And then you get to factor in the source material, whether or not somebody's written up a sentence that's long enough, perhaps for somebody with lungs the size of a average train car to write out, but
Well,
beyond that,
well, one of the
shit
last
out of
ones,
luck.
yeah, for one of the last ones I did, the original script was in German, so I was doing an English translation of a German script for a 4th edition of an RPG that was on a 5th edition. So some of the names had changed, and certain names within the game are still somewhat Germanic in their pronunciation. So, you know, it's any kind, especially with any kind of fantasy or sci-fi thing where you have a unique name that just because the name's spelled this way, this is how it's pronounced.
Yeah.
And, you know, getting the right inflection or highlighting a certain syllable in the pronunciation, and then just, you know, and then trying to make it sound to fit whatever you're
People
doing.
are going to care about that shit, man. When Shadow of War came out, or sorry, not Shadow of War. Shadow of War was the sequel, Shadow of Mordor.
Yeah.
When Celebrimbor says, "Filled him." It's like, well, that Razor Fist goes out and says, "Well, that's not how it's pronounced." It's like, all right, I could disregard that as being pedantic, but when you're looking at source material that people have a lot of love for and have a lot of enjoyment of, if the source material is part of what you're selling, then part of what you're intending to capitalize on is the love of the weird, the quirky, the esoteric knowledge that people can generate based on the source material. So that it seems small because it is small, but it being small does not mean it's not important.
Exactly.
Right.
So I completely
Just because
understand.
it's small
when it
doesn't mean
comes
it's
to these.
insignificant. So
Exactly. It's somebody's favorite quirky fact.
Which makes it even more significant for them.
Right. Which is where it helps if you've got a producer or a director that you're working with that is aware of what they're doing and can, you know, help guide you or instruct you on some of those kind of things, or, you know, whoever the representative is from the company that you're doing the work for. You know, am I giving you what you need? I can do more, I can do less, you know, I could do different, I can change the pitch, I can change the delivery. You know, do you want it delivered like a college professor? Do you want it delivered like, you know, ABC movie of the week? What do you want? And, you know, and what's worse is when we'll just do you. Okay.
I've gotten that before. I've yelled at Aaron over that prior. He's don't tell me. No, my voice takes place within the context of my thoughts, which are often broken up, have been re-edited, reorganized, or perhaps redone halfway through any given sentence, really.
Right.
And so when I'm getting ready to do a spiel or something of that variety, the manner in which I move my chest around and simply making sure that I have enough air to speak about, like right now I'm doing my normal conversational thing. When I'm in the middle of voice recording or voice acting, my stomach, my abs are rolling back and forth to continually pump air through my stomach. So you don't really get the sort of the sharp inhale or even the inhale that we'll occasionally do at the middle of a sentence break when I'm actually trying to do a word, you know? And I can mask it behind the word, but I don't want to do that in the middle of voice recording. So it's off. I need information on whether you want the pitch lower, you want it more even, whether it's too slow, too emotional, etc., etc., etc. Don't tell me, just be me. It's like dating advice. Christ.
Yeah. I understand.
Indeed. All right, gentlemen. We're at the 2 hour and 14-minute mark and counting. So I did something I wanted to say. Oh,
game tomorrow, right?
Yeah, tomorrow. Yeah, thank you for reminding me. Tomorrow is our second campaign, led and DM'd by Mr. Drew Bay. It'll be tomorrow, a regular broadcast, 9 p.m. Eastern. Make sure you join us for that. We have a special guest lined up for the following week. I won't reveal that now. You go on our Twitter page and be regaled with that information soon. I haven't created the StreamYard Hangout for that yet, or the D&D game, which I will probably when we get off this broadcast. So, everyone in the chat, thank you for joining us. It's pleasant talking with you. New faces, as it were, and old. and everyone who will be joining us later. Thank you for hanging out and listening. Appreciate it. As always, make sure you hit that like button. Hit that alert bell and not like, I already said that. Share and comment on this video. Thank you. So, let's do a little housekeeping. TJ, where can everyone find you?
You can go to TJ Martinell, MARTINELL.com.
There you go. James, how about yourself?
You can find me on AshCreativity.com, or better yet, you can find me at James Streissand on Kickstarter.com. Give me money.
Yes, give James money. He's a very good writer and a very good game designer. And he does really good art. Go your Instagram. What's your Instagram account?
Oh, Ashes of Creativity on Instagram.com. I started publishing some NFTs, and prints will be spammed regularly on my various Twitter accounts.
Nice. I like it.
I want people to add those to the walls.
I like it. I'm gonna have to get talk with you about NFT creation and whatnot and monetizing that, because I know next to nothing. So I'll be reaching out to you shortly. And last but not least, Mr. Robert Kuzland, where can everyone find you?
Robert Kuzland on Twitter, Instagram, and on YouTube, where I don't post a whole lot of content. And when I do, it's live, and you've got to catch it when it happens, and it's gone after that, kind of like the fog. And beyond that, as one of the newest members of Masculine Geek. So,
yes, he is.
There you go.
Yep. So you get 4 of us now. There are 4 core members of Masculine Geek: TJ, James, Robert, and myself. Yes, indeed. So, TJ, as always, what shall we do and take us out?
All right, guys, keep the wine flowing, keep the lead shooting down range, keep the fires burning, don't take any wood nickels, and don't drink all the rum, you cheap bastards.